Hey, so when I started this channel in January, I was kind of right in the middle of some deep insights about myself, I guess, like things I thought about myself and just a lot of other stuff that had sort of risen to the surface over the prior 30 days. And one of the things that I spent a lot of time thinking about, but I never talked about here. I talked a lot about self-worth and why I think correcting your, or at least disciplining your thoughts about yourself, why that is really vital to this whole thing, this whole manifestation realm. You know, a lot of people talk about how that is not necessary to do, and it isn't. If your goal, if your objective is simply to obtain something, even if it's an energetic thing like a relationship, I think you can absolutely do that from the wrong state of mind. You can do that with a totally unexamined self. You don't need to be looking at the world through a lens that you've wiped all the smudges off of in order to make things happen. I know that from personal experience. I've attained just about everything that I could think of that I wanted ever. But I just ate 14 Hershey's Kisses. I'm sorry, I might have to clear my throat a few times. I noticed pretty profoundly in January or whenever it was that I started this channel, I was really noticing how much, so much of our interaction, and I want to just, I try as much as possible to say, at least for me, but I think this is pretty broad. I think most people do this, just from my own observation. We spend a lot of time looking for the outside world to reflect back our own personal value, like right down to getting mad at people in traffic. You know, if you think about why you get pissed off at people that drive like idiots, or people who, you know, drive really slowly or something, you know, the anger at an oblivious idiot is that they're being inconsiderate, right? If you're driving like an asshole, you're endangering other people's lives. You know, you're affecting other people's emotions negatively. Or if you're driving slow, it's like, oh, well, you're the only person on the road in your mind. You know, there's this like judgy, angry thing that, if not everybody, most people feel that way to some degree. Like, I'm not much of a road rager, but I definitely get very irritated by those two things I just described. And in January, when I was thinking about this, I realized that also comes down to a self-worth thing. You know, emotional reactions come from somewhere. And I think most emotional reactions, negative ones, come from expecting to have your worth reflected back to you from the outside world, from other people, and being let down. I think that is the source of nearly all negative emotions. You know, even grief, even things like that, even loss. You know, on some level, loss, you know, of an attachment to somebody essentially is loss of an object that was giving you value. And I think with people, you know, we grieve obviously the most for people and pets and stuff like that. And it's because those people and pets make us feel valuable as human beings. And the most profound thing for me, and I don't know if you can tell by my demeanor, I have not been in a great mental space lately, because I feel like I'm being presented with all kinds of challenges in this area, and like I'm feeling strained to the limit for what I can do with my mental energy every day. And so like, I'm just kind of taxed all the time. I don't feel like there's enough to go around right now. And so I've been thinking about this, and you know, what was I saying? The most profound thing for me earlier this year in December was realizing that the creation of value is an internal thing. It's not, it's an illusion when it comes from anything else. The last video I made, because this is also kind of an everybody as you pushed out thing. The last video I made on everybody as you pushed out kind of goes hand in hand with this. You know, if we experience a sense of value because of another person, that is an illusion. That value isn't coming from that person. That value is coming from us taking feedback from that person, interpreting it internally, and coming up with, you know, the end conclusion: I am worthwhile, I am valued, you know, I'm okay. And for all you know, that person's behavior isn't saying that to you at all from their perspective. That's the funny part about it. Same thing with the idiot drivers. You know, if you've ever known an idiot driver, they're stuck in their own world. It's not malicious usually, you know, and yet all of this intent and negligence and, you know, just there's a lot of stuff that we, I think, like scribble onto the surface of these fairly meaningless day-to-day events. And when you start to discipline your mind, because some of this isn't just about resolving deep issues, some of this is about rewriting habitual thinking. And, you know, some of it is just like a mental exercise that it's easy to slip off of. You know, that's one of the worst things for me about being human, is this habit thing that's built into us where you can just lose it in like a short period of time, and you have to do all the work to build it up again. It's the same thing with mental thinking, you know, as it is with like getting the habit of going to the gym, or getting the habit of doing your laundry every Wednesday, or whatever habits you have set up. And so I wanted to just talk about that today, because depending on how you feel about yourself, and, you know, it's kind of sad to me that talking about how one feels about oneself has kind of been relegated onto the trash heap of new age thinking, or like modern talk therapy or whatever. It's kind of sad because, you know, if you believe that you are deficient, especially if you believe you're deficient at your core, I mean, that will influence and color every experience you have all day, every day. And there are ways to, if not removed entirely, reduce the number of things like that you have, you know, smudging your lens. It's really sad to me that people feel the need to denigrate self-exploration. You know, it's not a flowery, hippie, BS waste of time. It's like, it's a functional thing. If you don't try to fix some of your flaws, like your deep down flawed thoughts, I mean, you're just going to carry that around looking at everything through those flaws forever. I don't know, it seems rational to me, and not at all woo-woo hippie to want to do that from a pure functional standpoint. I don't know. But basically what I was thinking about when I decided to make this video is that pretty much all negative emotion and disappointment comes from looking at an object or a person or something else to reflect value to you that only you can give yourself. And once you realize that only you can provide those feelings to yourself, it's an instant shift in reality, in perception of reality to, I don't know, things start having a different meaning. People, the objects that you have, it becomes a different experience. And it is easy to slip back into that thinking. I have been feeling kind of disappointed about some things lately. And just kind of feeling like, with this whole lockdown, I mean, I'm not even really sure what my problem is, because my business is recession proof, and I've kind of taken like a month off just because I wanted to. But like not being able to do stuff, having my freedom restricted, being in the house a lot more. Like I was probably home like 3 hours a day before. Now I'm home like 12 hours a day or more. I'm just starting to get kind of like depressed. And I know that that's happening because I have slipped into a lazy mental state. I haven't been attempting to control my thoughts much. I'm not a super negative person to begin with, but I don't know. I've just kind of slacked off on all the things I was putting energy towards because of this illusion. I need to make a video on pendulums from reality transurfing. The coronavirus pendulum, I allowed it into my life. It's funny, and it's just kind of sapped my energy. And so I think I have to spend some time considering how to detach from that and move forward. Because I think I've become an adherent. But anyway, so yeah, I know everybody is home, hanging out, bored out of their mind. So I thought I would just make a video today, even though it's not a super upbeat one. But I bet somebody gets what I'm saying here. So, have a good day. I'm going to go run 3 miles and hopefully get some endorphins flowing, and perhaps that will deter me from eating anything and everything in sight like I have been for the last month. Between Steve, my new housemate, and we have gained 17 pounds since the day he got to my place. So, that's mostly him though. All right, have a good one.